This isn't going to be a fun video. And yes, I know that this isn't the first time that I made a video like this, but each and every time that I do, I think that it's going to be the last time that I have to do this. Although, this time around, I'm fairly certain that this isn't going to be the last time either. Events over the past few months have pushed me and those I care about into a place where making such a video like this is inevitable. I'm going to talk about the internet harassment that I and people I know have been receiving. And I will be mentioning people by name. Call them trolls, haters, idiots, aggressive critics, might hate them, I don't care. This is at a place where it needs to stop. Back in 2014, I made an editable animation on the Shane Kozen poem Troll, and in it, I said some things that people found contentious. The most infamous statement within was that I believed that trolls and cyberbullies were the same thing. Do I still believe that? I'll let you come to your own conclusion by the end of this video. I mean, back then, I probably didn't have much of a leg to stand on with that opinion. Back then, my biggest troll or hater or whatever was, what? Clay Claymore? He was, or is, a person who decided that someone spending their internet life on animation was so pathetic that he needed to dedicate his internet life to bitching about people who bitch about animation. He originally talked about Benthelooney, but as I got more well-known, he switched to talking about me, and was probably where my first few waves of trolls came from. And Clay Claymore is one of those trolls who, yeah, the old adage of don't feed the trolls kind of worked. But in all honesty, I find Clay Claymore funny. Like, an adorable child kind of way. Especially in hindsight. He talks himself up so much. He was so better than me because he had a real job and a girlfriend. Strange how my fake job allowed me to afford a microphone, something that he never bothered with. And I'm pretty sure that he wouldn't have that girlfriend if she knew what he was doing online. He even commented on my Indiegogo trailer because, in his own words, his fans kept asking him to, which was really cute. He found himself nestled within the hellhole known as the commentary community. And within that community, I was, maybe still am, a huge talking point. They'd make these repetitive as fuck videos complaining about my repetitive as fuck videos. About things like how I talked about SpongeBob or Teen Titans Go or whatever way too much, how my editing is shit, and how I insult writers, even if it's years after I stopped doing those things. Back when these were a lot more popular, both haters and fans incessantly asked me to do a response to these things, and to what end? Creating drama? I can't create drama within the commentary community because the commentary community is built on drama. Here's how that community works. People will flock to you because you're picking on a target that they don't like, but the second you either A, pick on a target that they do like, or you reveal yourself to have a flaw like, you know, a typical human being, they cannibalize each other. Clay Claymore was pretty popular in that circle, until he attacked Doug Walker, who was really well liked, you know, at the time. And then his community and his fan base turned on him, and they legit called him the next MrEnter, and used me as an insult towards him. And the people who made responses on Clay Claymore's video, the second that they reveal themselves to be human being, they're gonna be the next Clay Claymore. That is their fate. It's going to happen to each and every one of them, whether they have anything to do with me or not. They either get as obsessive as the people they're commentating on, they're bad at hiding their own dirty laundry, or they just get bored. It doesn't matter if you're as small as Clay Claymore, if you're as big as Leafy is here. They all go away eventually. So let's go back to that old internet adage, the piece of advice that I tend to get more often than not when talking about haters, or harassment, or trolls, or whatever. Nebulous negativity online. Has it worked here? I'm going to say, not really. Maybe a specific commentator would stop messing with me when they got bored, but the commentary community as a whole is still going, well, strong is not the correct word. But they're still picking up on any little thing to try and create drama. Sure, some die out, but the Clay Claymores give ways for the Turkey Toms. Right off the bat, I love how many of them use my actual face and visions like it means something. Like, Encyclopedia Dramatica has this thing where when you know someone's actual full name, Encyclopedia Dramatica calls this the power word. Like it means something. Or like they're fucking Odysseus. The video that Turkey shows is from when I was talking about, or more or less riffing, a PSA made by Autism Speaks, an organization that seems to hate autistic people more than Kiwi Farms, which is impressive, especially because they have the front of a charity. But beyond that, Turkey Tom is a child. Mentally or physically, I don't know, but he is a child.
And truth be told, I didn't even want to make this video, but oh wait, yes I did, because once again, MrEnter has shown that he is an incompetent fool who has no idea what he's doing whatsoever.
Tit for tat, as you will.
Basically, he makes poorly done reviews of cartoons and steals jokes from infinitely more successful YouTubers in an effort to gain some notoriety of his own.
Says the guy who has stolen jokes and criticisms from Mars Reviews and Rebel Taxi verbatim. The word of the day, boys and girls, is projection. Seriously, dude, your critiques ripped off from Mars Reviews are painfully obvious. Except give Mars Reviews credit, he didn't insinuate that I was a pedophile.
Ah, good. A weird, lonely, socially inept man is going to be explaining what it is like to grow up like a little girl. Well, I guess their interest in My Little Pony and dating prepubescent boys will be one thing in common.
Multiple times.
Yo. I have a feeling that Enter's idea of a thank you video was him stripping down nude and sending people pictures of his little Johnny to the kids who pay money to see his show.
Turkey, considering that you sound like you're in high school, I'm going to explain this as reasonably as I can. People have both been killed and killed others over that exact accusation. And when you get out of high school, making claims like those, either in real life or even on the internet, can bite you in the ass. It's called slander, and you can be sued for it. I know that you're thinking that what you do on the internet has no consequences, but it does. By claiming that I'm a pedophile when I'm not gives me the ability to sue you. I'm probably not going to do that, but when it comes down to it, I never thought that I'd make a video where I called out my trolls by name. And if you're wondering, no, it wasn't you who caused me to take a break earlier this year. And Digby, if you're watching, yes, I have finally gone insane.
With not even 300,000 subscribers, for someone who has never made an animation in his entire life and has never shown that he is capable of producing one piece of good writing, either from his reviews, his atrocious book, or his somewhat pedophilic show concept, I feel like this is Enter sort of projecting, telling his audience preemptively that he's a creep or a horrible person of some kind before he gets outed for it by someone else. I mean, not saying he is necessarily, even though he has done some rather pedophilic illustrations in his past.
That is an absolute lie. I've drawn children, fully clothed and going on non-sexual adventures. But if that's what you consider pedophilic, we got some problems with the entire animation industry. Because we have what? Hey Arnold, Kids Next Door, Rugrats? Oh my god, those are babies! There's Fillmore, there's Recess. Do I even need to go on about this to show how ludicrous of an accusation this is? But I get it, you gotta be edgy if you want them views, and you want Senpai Mars or Rebel Taxi to notice you.
When I was a kid, maybe 11 years old or so, I had a dream that one day I would create a cartoon. So I would draw all these pictures and write out plots and scripts, and eventually when I bought a computer, I would do all these little test animations and things like that. It was a real dream of mine. But eventually I realized that I have no talent for animation, and I gave up. But animation just isn't what I was meant to do.
Well, that's good news. If Turkey Tom doesn't want to be a hypocrite, or at least he wants to be consistent, he's just going to have to stop ranting and he won't be a problem anymore. Because he's really shit at this. But if you want to go suck off Mars Reviews some more, I'm not going to stop you. So, going back to Don't Feed the Trolls. Turkey's existence is what I've got by not punching back. And I'm running out of reasons not to punch back. These people commentate on whoever they want because they think these people are not going to respond or fight back. But one day, the bear will bite back. Not just me, but maybe somebody else. So many of them just want to keep shit-talking, and they're doing it to someone they think will not respond. And for a few years now, I haven't. But I'm at the point where I have no choice. I've always known that Don't Feed the Trolls doesn't work. Take a look at my DeviantArt page, for instance. So, what someone likes to do is make an account, comment on my page with anything really. It could be a string of nonsense, a Wikipedia article, or maybe they'll go for the porn or gore and just rapidly start spamming. I quietly block them and mark their spam as spam. That account eventually gets deactivated. However, it's really easy to start a DeviantArt account. Some would say too easy. And maybe it's more than one person, maybe it's the same guy, I don't know. But do you know how long this has been going on? This has been going on for at least 3 full years now. Why? Because it's easy. Starting up a new account is about as difficult as starting up a game console. And how many times do you do that when you want just a easy bit of entertainment? Whenever you get bored, just boot it up for an hour. And you can play that thing for years. What you need to know about trolling is that it's not always about the reaction. Sometimes it's about the intrinsic pleasure of doing something that's naughty. Back when I was a dipshit and I insulted the writers of shows, do you really think that I cared how they would react? No, I didn't. There was never a possibility in my mind that they would react, and it still felt good doing it anyway. People say don't feed the trolls because when people do respond to criticism or trolling online, they do these over-the-top leave Britney alone style rants. Remember, getting away with something feels good. And if you insult someone and they don't respond, in your mind, you have gotten away with something. But the shit I have to deal with online isn't always trolls. There's someone who really doesn't like me. I don't know if you've heard of him. His name is, Rebel Taxi. Occasionally he gets drunk on his podcast and shit talks me like I don't know that he does it.
Should I keep this enter thing into the podcast?
But I do want to know, where does the I guess, not, I want to call it hate, but just...
I don't like him because he's like always, he takes things too seriously. Like he's like, that wasn't funny at all. Like I think it's best if everybody should just watch my Rhapsody Kids video, which came out first, and then watch his and see which is the better one.
I was literally about to say that, because there is a huge contrast where, like,
for Mr. Enter, I'm like, dude, do something with your title cards. Do something with your banner. Clean yourself up, man.
Here's $1. Go.
Go clean yourself up, you scrub.
Yeah.
Much of my hateum is directly inspired by him. They credit him as their inspiration. Why doesn't he like me? Well, from what I understand, it's because I once harassed someone that led to a bunch of people harassing that person.
In 2004, this was something new. Before social media, we didn't really know who was making these cartoons. They were just mysterious names at the end credits, and maybe you'll catch one interview on TV somewhere during commercials. But now, you can just look them up and beg for them to notice you and threaten to kill them if they fuck up on an episode of SpongeBob. We're living in the future, people!
So, back in my past, I did insult writers, call them idiots, say that they should be ashamed of their work, and such like that. But I have never, ever, ever issued a death threat or a threat of physical harm. If you watched my videos, then you would have known that. If you didn't, are you just hating me because you think it's cool? Are you hating me because you think it's the popular thing to do? And you complain about my professionalism. The one that I was harshest on has actually forgiven me, and everyone who is directly involved has moved on with their lives. In short, if this is all you have on me, you have nothing at all. Oh wait, I think he's one of those people. The it's okay to do immoral things as long as I do them to an immoral person. They're immoral because they did this action. Even though I'm doing this exact same reaction, it's okay. And Rebel Taxi, if you hear this, don't pretend that you have less influence than I did. You right now are the biggest channel in the cartoon community. Back when I made my worst, most harsh insults towards writers, I had less than 20,000 subscribers. You have more than 10 times that amount. And you're hitting a target that isn't as out of reach, So many of the most toxic people in the community are inspired by your Rebel Taxi. Every single repetitive problems with the cartoon community meme video holds you up in high standards. If you don't respect me, at least respect the fact that you are an inspiration. And people are going to do things because they think that that's what you would want, or that they want to be like you. But I never told anyone to harass. Neither did I. I never once told anyone to harass the people that I insulted. So if it's okay to hate a guy because he insulted someone and his followers just decided to start a hate campaign, well, tell me when your birthday is. I'll buy you a fucking mirror. You are at the top of the hill right now. Start acting like it. And for what it's worth, it's funny that we get all these videos complaining about the problems in the cartoon community, because for the longest time, I felt that there was no community. Just a bunch of people who were apathetic at best to each other, or who gave pot shots, like that was just what you were supposed to do. The only thing in common was that they just so happened to talk about cartoons. I can't speak for everyone, but do you know what pisses me off? When someone says, your videos are so much better than so-and-so. Especially when they're commented on my page, because it's always filled with a long string of why they don't like that other person. Keep in mind that a lot of us in the cartoon community do know each other. Try this, because this is exactly what you're doing. Go up to someone in real life and say, you're way better than your friend, especially when that friend is standing right next to them. It's not a compliment. And besides, I absolutely suck. I'm the worst person ever. Haven't you heard that my editing is shit, even though I've got 2 editors now? Haven't you heard that I'm obsessed with SpongeBob and Teen Titans Go, even though I haven't made a review on either of those shows in quite some time? Haven't you heard that I insult writers, even though it's been a goddamn while? A lot of the flame wars about me are haters claiming that these things are still true. Usually things that they've heard in hearsay or from one of those commentary community people that don't do their damn research. And other people getting angry because I've changed. You go into forums and that's what you get. Just people talking past each other. The hater ain't interested in going back and the fan ain't interested in leaving. And it just goes nowhere, and it's so exhausting for everybody involved. I mean, it's not like I don't have flaws. I know that I have flaws. But to find my flaws, I have to look internally. Here's one of the problems with trolls and haters. It makes it harder and harder to find legitimate criticism. Instead of that, I get stuff like, you take cartoons too seriously. Well, considering that it is my job, as in something that I get paid for, it would be wise to take cartoons just a tiny bit seriously. I mean, if I was a mechanic, I would probably take mechanical engineering just a slight bit seriously. And cartoons are also what people come to me for. When I talk about video games or whatever, not as many people are interested. But maybe you're right. Maybe one day I should make a new style of animated atrocities. The video will be like this. Hey guys, the internet told me I was taking cartoons too seriously, so from now on, this show is going to be about interpretive dance. I hope you enjoy. What they probably mean is that I'm obsessed. I'm not obsessed with cartoons. I do other things. I play games. I watch live action shows. I read books. I go on walks. Cartoons are my job, not my life. You want to see something? My book currently has a 2.7 or 2.8 stars on Amazon. Do I deserve it? I don't know. Maybe it's the worst book ever. I legitimately have no idea. But when criticism I get is things like autism out of 10 or I had a ghostwriter, it's hard to know if anything is in good faith. Let's take a look at some of the more infamous reviews right now. With this being said, Growing Around Party Panic was thoroughly an unpleasant read. To be fair, I had only read the first 2 chapters. However, it only took 2 chapters for me to realize the thunderdome of suffering I occupied. There are 11 chapters in my book. Imagine if I reviewed a movie after only watching 10 minutes of it. Even movies and cartoons that legit trigger traumatic feelings, I persevered to the very end. Sally, the main character, is also absolutely disgusting. She wipes her grimy, chocolate-stained face right onto her blouse, rolls around in mud, and apparently has weekly baths, though I hope to God that character was joking when she said all that. This all happens in one day, with nothing to imply that she's even taken the time to wash her greasy hands. So you're criticizing a child character for not living up to your adult sensibilities in a world run by kids. Finally, the prose itself is childish, which almost seems intentional until you watch one of MrEnter's videos and realize this is just what the man thinks good writing looks like. The book is written from the first-person perspective of a 7-year-old girl. It's amazing how you can turn strengths into weaknesses if you just play the right words. And omit key facts. There's no fun to be had in reading this, not even as a joke. And I know this for a fact, because that's how I went into this. I thought I knew what I was getting into. I was wrong. Instead of a nice laugh with some friends, we quickly became unsettled and bored that just finishing another page felt like scaling Mount Everest with only your corneas. So, let me get this straight. You bought my book as a joke. Alright, so is the review a joke too? It's not a very funny one. I don't know what the punchline is. After the review went up, several others followed with the same rating. It kinda felt like review bombing. I'm well aware of MrEnter and his reputation on YouTube. I know that he's currently working on getting this concept made into cartoon. He has even written scripts for it, scripts that I've read. I'm glad that he's passionate about the project and has his heart set on it. But speaking as one writer to another, Enter, your book and scripts are bad. Warning, I only read the sample, for I do not want to give Enter my money. Harsh, yes, but I have my reasons that I'll get to later in the review. Right. You're determining the book is bad based on only the sample provided. Okay, sure. Many people said that my Indiegogo campaign was a disaster. And I mean, sure. You're right, it was an absolute disaster. The Hindenburg married to the Titanic in the world of crowdfunding campaigns. I started an Indiegogo project that didn't make its goal. That's scandalous. I mean, like, when I think of disasters, I think of a campaign that hits 4 times its budget, keeps its backers in the dark, makes an insulting trailer, neglects to give anyone backer rewards, and then delivers a mediocre project that looked worse than the concept art years late. My Indiegogo campaign was far worse than that because it didn't hit its budget, like 44% of crowdfunding campaigns. But you asked for way too much money. Which, you know, is the #1 mistake that is made in failed crowdfunding campaigns. It is indeed the Hindenburg of crowdfunding campaigns. People are going to be looking at my crowdfunding campaign for years and years in the book. Future crowdfunders are going to look specifically to this case and learn everything that they're not going to do to make the perfect crowdfunding campaign. It's going to give them literally all of the knowledge that they're ever going to need. It's amazing how many of my haters want me to stop reviewing and get off the internet, yet they actively try and sabotage any means I have of doing anything else. Like I said, maybe it's the worst IP in the world. I don't know. People like me say it's awesome, people who don't say it's the worst piece of trash ever. Like, literally everything else I do. Speaking of making it harder to get a non-internet job, that Legends of the Internet video. It used Encyclopedia Dramatica as the source. Quick tip, anyone who uses Encyclopedia Dramatica immediately loses all credibility with me. Even if they're talking about someone I don't like. The second they mention ED, video's over. I might leave a dislike, but I'm never coming back to you. Even if you like Encyclopedia Dramatica, it is billed itself as a comedy website. It's like using The Onion from hell. It doesn't matter who it's for. Mine was made by someone who couldn't stand the fact that someone else had a different opinion to them. I'm not even joking. And you can imagine the angle they took. But slanderous lies are absolutely okay because it's all for the lulz. And do you know what? Most of this stuff actually doesn't bother me. This is the stuff that I've been quiet about. And the funny thing is that if I did care about this and I did respond to it frequently, I wouldn't be facing some of the other shit that I need to deal with. So, common knowledge on the internet tells you, block someone. If someone is causing you a problem, just block them. When I block someone, this is what happens. The first option, usually at their disposal, is to make an alternate account. Just recently, I've had to block the same dipshit 5 times in succession. Literally in the same hour. Why did he want so badly to make comments on my account? Because he really wanted to respond to everyone in my comment section with inane ramblings about how they were wrong and their political opinions were wrong. But sometimes that doesn't work and I keep blocking them. Sometimes they're just not satisfying. This person wants to get at me even harder. After all, I insulted this cartoon show or this piece of media that they like. What do? Well, a lot of people shit talk me, get blocked, and then wonder why they're blocked, for months or even years at a time. Some guy once had a friend come up to me saying that his blocking put him in a bad place mentally. This person commented on pretty much everything I did just to leave an insult, and he wondered why I blocked him. A specific person in that camp is Regulus314 on DeviantArt. He talks about me nonstop, like he must want my attention. I guess it's Christmas today because I'm giving all these trolls exactly what they want. I'm giving everybody what they want. Regulus, is an interesting person. You know, beyond the trying to lead a charge to get my editor fired, which isn't going to happen, by the way. You know what a tsundere is? He's one in real life. Make more content faster, not that I like it or anything. In the meantime, he uses the name of my series and regurgitates my opinion while claiming that I am awful and he hates everything I do. He claims to change, but he never does until he's made himself a mockery by everyone. He's actually a sign of how merciful I can be when it comes to blocking. I blocked him back in 2016. And yes, in 2018, he's still shit-talking me to this day. Why did I block him? Well, I ignored his abrasive nature for months, even after shit-talking many of my viewers, because it was just on the edge of being abrasive but not really going there. The breaking point is when I was suffering from epididymal cysts, you know, the ones that I needed surgery to remove, and he, in all seriousness, suggested that I should just have my testicle removed. Some people do more than just whine and bitch that they got blocked. They go after people who mention me. When PieGuyRules made a video on my Indiegogo, people took him to task. Why? Because he didn't crucify me, or at least explain how my campaign was worse than Butch Hartman's or whatever.
But the reason I'm talking about PieGuy today is because he made a video about this Indiegogo shitfest that I thought was a pretty mixed bag, kind of bad in some places. An honest look at MrEnter's Indiegogo. Or is it just a shitty video title that you didn't put enough thought into, and are simply using to convince your fans that you were the arbiter of truth? PieGuyRules, judge, jury, and executioner.
First of all, if that's your opinion, you make the damn video. Don't criticize PieGuyRules for having his own opinion. And don't rely on someone else to regurgitate your opinion. Like, I don't know, I'm just getting kind of sick of my name being Voldemort, with everyone going fucking crazy whenever it's mentioned. Especially because it gets worse. If that's not enough for them, they'll go after people that I do know for the sole fact that I know them. I talked to a friend recently, years after we've had anything to do with each other publicly. She told me that people are still asking her if she has any dirt on me. But it could be worse, I suppose. Did you know that my editor was doxxed? For the sole fact that he was my editor? I mean, a lot of people have threatened to dox me, or those that I know. Like easy peasy.
The mysterious MrEnter may very well be, bar none, the worst reviewer on all of YouTube. But despite all of the vitriol surrounding him, I was able to find very little actual juicy drama that he was involved in, to the point I considered going out of my way and personally trying to dox him, just to maybe not publish the dox, but maybe somewhere in there I'd find something that's actually interesting.
And apparently he's not the person who doxed me or my editor, but apparently he knows this person. He's also an Encyclopedia Dramatica moderator, and they say that site is about harassment. The artists that I work with tend to get some especially harsh criticism. Is it in good faith? How the fuck should I know? A lot of it does seem like obvious bullshit, but they don't know this. I guess that's what you get for associating with the Antichrist. This is what happens when you block people now. They feel justified enough to lose their fucking minds. When I got a new editor, people were rejoicing because they thought I was replacing Crimson. Some of them thought that he wasn't working fast enough, ignoring the fact that he has his own videos in his own damn life. If I fed the trolls originally and gave them some kind of reaction, some kind of tell that this was getting to me, well, maybe they would have left the people I knew alone instead of using them as a means to get to me. I mean, how bad could it really get? Well, there was one script kiddie who spoofed my email, routed it to a spam bot, and sent repeated terroristic threats to any country they could find, insulted people that they didn't like, and issued DMCA takedowns. That one actually got the FBI to my door. Let me guess, you think I'm joking? There's no way in hell it could get that bad. I mean, here's my email correspondence with someone who was affected by this person, and here are many of the no-reply emails that I'd gotten. The websites usually get back when you submit anything. The names of these people may change. SpongeBat, Jinbo. The shows they get pissed over me for hating, they also change. SpongeBob, Breadwinners, Teen Titans Go, Family Guy. Doesn't really matter. I block one of these guys, the same guy in a different skin is gonna come back in a few months. Or hell, tomorrow with how the frequency is increasing. Let me put this out there. It is okay to not like me. It's even okay to criticize my actions, or what I create. But if you're so obsessed with someone that you think you need to attack them, or destroy them, or whatever, because they have a different opinion about a cartoon than you do, you are the person with the problem and you need to seek help. In my half a decade of doing this, I have never gotten a show canceled. I am no threat to your precious show, your life, your peace, or your well-being. I ask you to be the same towards mine. You just don't like people criticizing you. Well, maybe, but the people who like me can be pieces of work themselves too, and they're not getting off the hook. You know, like the girl who said she would jump off a balcony if I didn't say that I loved her. But we'll be talking about my cyberstalkers a little bit later. First, many of the people who follow me are on the inverse scale of the last thing I mentioned. They like me because I praised something that they liked, or I gave a negative review to something they hated. They see me as some kind of validation, and they need to see me as flawless, or that might weaken their defense, or their self-esteem, or whatever. I want to make it clear. If I've never said to my viewers, think for yourself and form your own opinions, that's because I thought that came standard, like going into a chess match and expecting not to get punched in the face. There are some things you shouldn't have to say. And I have said that I hate it when people just post my reviews or quotes that I've said verbatim, because it's unequal footing to when someone just copies the words of someone else as a way to rebut me. You know what we learned in grade school? Put things into your own goddamn words. One of my friends told me to my face that my fandom scares them. And yes, some of them can get quite obsessive. A lot of people continually ask about me towards other reviewers, and as such, I do believe that has pushed them further away. I believe that there are people less willing to deal with me because my fandom has gotten out of control. In fact, right now I have a cyberstalker. Not my first, actually, believe it or not. No, the first one was the I'm gonna jump off the balcony person. This person, I became aware of their existence around February, and their last comments were, as far as writing the script goes, yesterday. I have blocked dozens of accounts. For some reason, these guys all like to pull the I'll kill myself if you don't love me card. So, you're not creative or special. Every single one has pulled that card. You're just a dime a dozen crazy that I want nothing to do with. So, let me ask a question, just out of curiosity. What should I be doing about this harassment? Yeah, don't feed the trolls, I know. I mean, I can block people all day and night. I could block everyone on the internet, but it doesn't really stop the rumors that spout up about me, the legal slander, the people targeting people I know, blasting anyone who even talks about me, the people who use alternate accounts and proxy servers to circumvent IP bans, sock puppets, cyberstalkers. Maybe you should contact law enforcement, he says, thinking that I haven't tried that. You really think the police give a damn? The police around here barely give a shit about in-person stalkers. On both sides. I'm not special. For the love of God, I'm just someone who makes videos on the internet. That is it. I don't understand why any of this has happened. Yes, I made mistakes, but there are people who have done far worse shit than I have done, far more obsessively. I just make videos on cartoons. And yet, if I so happen to decide that one day I can't take it anymore, there will be people cheering. There will be celebration, and I know this for a fact. Why don't I have a P.O. box? Because I have a reasonable fear that someone is going to be so deranged that they're going to put a bomb in it. Did I do anything? I called a guy an idiot. A guy who's moved up in the industry, and I probably don't occupy any space in his mind anymore. I try to make a cartoon show. Some people get it, some people don't. You know, like a lot of shows, like Adult Swim's entire repertoire. You want a fun fact? I mentioned Kiwi Farms back earlier in this video. Kiwi Farms is a website dedicating to harassing people and documenting everything they do, building a more complete dossier of them than the FBI. They claim to have standards, like they say, don't pick on minors, but if you're an adult that did some things as a minor, it's fair game. Or if you're trying to defend one of their lolcows and you are a minor, you're still fair game. They are tied to getting a pedophile caught, but they're also tied to someone committing suicide because of their harassment. That is their existence. They find people who may be strange or even insane, and they find camaraderie laughing at them and making fun of them. The drama that I've been talking about for this entire video was too toxic for that website that they had to essentially bury their page on me. So if you're ever in their neighborhood, be sure to send them my regards. Oh wait, the common complaint is that most of my audience is kids, and they're not allowed to make fun of kids. But hell, they're not about harassment either. They have standards. They'll probably live up to them. It is the only time that Not Feeding the Trolls has ever done anything for me. One time, in contrast to the dozens of other stories that I've told, and the even more that I haven't. And it's not like my silence directly did anything. They decided to play with a hand grenade known as my name. All I did was not walk into the room. So, to answer my pondering from the beginning of the video, do I still believe that trolling and cyberbullying are the same thing? Well, going back through all the facts, I have to say, not really. Congratulations, people trying to convince me that trolling wasn't so bad by continually trolling me into changing my opinion. There's a difference between trolling and bullying. We as a society have decided that bullying is bad and it should be stopped. Whether or not we actually really do something against it, we have at least decided that it's a bad thing. As for trolling, we decided that it's good, clean fun, no matter how many people get hurt and no matter how big that it goes. Shooting people's houses during a live stream, calling the police on them with a prank number, giving out their information to people who would hurt them, sending horseshit to their families, All good, clean fun. None of that is cyberbullying by the definitions that I've gotten. Cyberbullying is targeted, repeated harassment. So if you just send horseshit to someone's house once or a bunch of random houses indiscriminately, then it's okay. There's an art to trolling. Just saying fuck you is what plebs who think they're trolling do. Okay, let me stop you right there. There used to be an art to trolling, if that's even true. But because you guys are so elitist that you didn't bother trying to combat this is what trolling is now. Saying I'm going to kill you to people you don't like. That is the definition of trolling. That is what it is. You didn't stop it? That is the definition. Congratulations. They are intertwined. You can't change it now. It's too late. That's the way it is. So often, people around me told me to stay quiet about all this. And I did, and it just got worse and worse and worse. There's a reason that internet censorship is getting more and more steam now. The normies want this, because they don't want to deal with your fucking bullshit! And they're tired of hearing, get off the internet if you can't take it. In modern society, the internet is just as important and useful as a car. And for most people, that is a necessity. Yeah, you know the phrase, get out of the kitchen if you can't stand the heat? It's a great phrase, unless you're the dipshit with the match. People are no longer able to just get off the internet. People have jobs that rely on using the internet. People try to have reasonable discussions on the internet. And people have kids they know use the internet. You think the normies want their kids doxxed because they disagreed with some man-child who has problems? For the record, I am for a free and open internet. I do not want internet censorship of any kind. But this kind of behavior makes that opinion harder and harder to have. And I know that those in power don't really give a shit about harassment. It took an innocent man dying for them to start talking about swatting. And if you go down to the police, it's clear that the people in charge don't want to do anything about internet harassment. But congratulations, trolls, you make excellent fucking scapegoats. No matter how many people build careers off getting trolled, you don't fucking get it, do you? It is okay to not like me. It's even okay to criticize my actions, or what I create.
I couldn't agree with you more, MrEnter. That's why I'm making this video. However, I'm going to do my best to be nice in this video, and I'm going to be mostly defending MrEnter instead of attacking him. Because honestly, MrEnter has had a problem with harassment for a few years now, and he wants to know what he can do about it.
So, let me ask a question, just out of curiosity. What should I be doing about this harassment?
I'm glad you asked, MrEnter. I'm going to do what I can to help you out. Now, for those of you who don't know, I did a video with Digby about MrEnter's crowdfunding campaign. The video got quite a lot of backlash. In fact, I don't think I've ever received so much backlash on a video before. Me and Digby had a lot of trouble working together, and even then I was only in 1/3 of the video. I had a lot of people contacting me and telling me what problems they had with the video, even though 9 out of 10 of their problems were about what Digby said and not about what I said. Yeah, guys, I didn't insult the Alpha J show. Digby did that. If you have a problem with something Digby said, bring it up with him and not me. Digby eventually took the video down and said he wasn't really proud of it. Now, I'm not just going to throw Digby under the bus and say, oh, every problem with that video is Digby's fault. I didn't do nothing. Because I did insult MrEnter a little bit in that video. But in this video, I'm going to be mostly defending him. So let's dive right into it.
This isn't going to be a fun video. And yes, I know that this isn't the first time that I made a video like this, but each and every time that I do, I think that it's going to be the last time that I have to do this. Although, this time around, I'm fairly certain that this isn't going to be the last time either.
And that's smart, MrEnter. Once you say this is the last time I'm going to be doing this, and then you do it again, people are going to comment, you said you want to do this again, but here you are, doing it again! It gets very annoying very fast.
And I will be mentioning people by name.
Yeah, I think you should do that. If people are going to mention you by name, then you should mention them by name. If they did a video on you first, then you should have every right to do a video on them back and mention them by name. Granted, you might have a few people calling you a bully for it, but if you do the opposite, you'll get a whole bunch of comments saying, who are you talking about? Why aren't you mentioning people by name?
Back in 2014, I made an editable animation on the Shane Kozen poem Troll, and in it, I said some things that people found contentious. The most infamous statement within was that I believe that trolls and cyberbullies were the same thing.
Okay, I have to disagree with you on that one, MrEnter. It's not only that you said that, but you said anyone who disagrees with you needed to shut the fuck up.
And to those who are saying there's a difference between cyberbullying and trolling, shut the fuck up.
I mean, it just comes across as a little Lilliputish. You were also just a little too overdramatic in the video.
And I mean no exaggeration here. I now know that there is evil in the world.
Really? Trolling made you realize there was evil in the world and not, you know, all the other stuff that is way worse? Granted, he does say not every troll is a bully, but still, he should have taken that other part out.
Back then, my biggest troll or hater or whatever was, what, Clay Claymore?
Why does Clay Claymore keep popping up everywhere? The guy only has like, what, 1.5K subs, but he really makes an impact.
He found himself nestled within the hellhole known as the commentary community.
Yeah, that is a pretty good description of it.
I feel like this is Enter sort of projecting, telling his audience preemptively that he's a creep or a horrible person of some kind before he gets outed for it by someone else. I mean, not saying he is necessarily, even though he has done some rather pedophilic illustrations in his past.
That is an absolute lie. I've drawn children, you know, fully clothed and going on non-sexual adventures. But if that's what you consider pedophilic, we got some problems with the entire animation industry. Because we have, what, Hey Arnold, Kids Next Door, Rugrats? Oh my god, those are babies! There's Fillmore, there's Recess. Do I even need to go on about this?
Yeah, people seriously need to stop calling MrEnter a pedophile. I mean, the evidence to support that theory is incredibly flimsy. He talks about children's cartoons, he has a creepy beard, and he claims to be asexual. Okay, so what? Calling him one is very slanderous, and I'm pretty sure if he was one, we would have hard evidence by now.
Turkey's existence is what I've got by not punching back, and I'm running out of reasons not to punch back. These people commentate on whoever they want because they think these people are not going to respond or fight back. But one day, the bear will bite back. Not just me, but maybe somebody else. So many of them just want to keep shit-talking, and they're doing it to someone they think will not respond.
Well, I don't think they believe they will get away with it. I mean, after all, you do have a very rabid fan base. But I do really think you should start punching back more. I know some people may say, well, that's what they want, but at this point, people are going to do videos on MrEnter regardless.
I don't like him because he's like always, he takes things too seriously. Like he's like, that wasn't funny at all. Like I think it's best if everybody should just watch my Rhapsody Kids video, which came out first, and then watch his and see which is the better one.
Okay, and this is a problem I do have with a lot of MrEnter's videos. He keeps putting text on screen instead of, you know, re-recording. I'm glad the text is big enough for people to see if they're watching the video on their phone, but even then a lot of people listen to a YouTube video while they're working out, washing the dishes, or playing a video game, and they might miss that text.
So, back in my past, I did insult writers, call them idiots, say that they should be ashamed of their work, and such like that. But I have never ever issued a death threat, or a threat of physical harm, but I never told anyone to harass. Neither did I. In short, if this is all you have on me, you have nothing. At all.
Yeah, MrEnter did a review of a SpongeBob episode, and a lot of his fans attacked the guy who wrote the episode. But the thing is, MrEnter didn't directly tell his fans to attack that person. Us commentators do videos on people, and our fans often attack. We never send our fans to attack someone, and that's normally our defense. So if we're gonna use that defense, but say it doesn't count when MrEnter does it, we're kind of being huge hypocrites. However, MrEnter, please keep in mind that this same logic can apply to you.
And Rebel Taxi, if you hear this, don't pretend that you have less influence than I did. You right now are the biggest channel in the cartoon community. Back when I made my worst, most harsh insults towards writers, I had less than 20,000 subscribers. You have more than 10 times that amount.
Yeah, but MrEnter, you have a way bigger audience than Turkey Tom.
But just for an example of how dumb this video is, the mysterious MrEnter literally says that Pan Pizza shouldn't have been talking badly about him when he had 20,000 subs and Pan over 100,000, yet he, someone with nearly 300k, makes a video with me in the thumbnail and focuses a good 30% of the video on me.
Back when I made my worst, most harsh insults towards writers, I had less than 20,000 subscribers. You have more than 10 times that amount.
I'm just saying that hypocrisy can go both ways.
If you watched my videos, then you would have known that. If you didn't, are you just hating me because you think it's cool?
That is very true. A lot of people hate on MrEnter because it's the popular thing to do. You're almost guaranteed to get a lot of views if you do a video on him.
And besides, I absolutely suck. I'm the worst person ever. Haven't you heard that my editing is shit? Even though I've got 2 editors now?
Yeah, in MrEnter's old videos, his editing was pretty terrible. He would keep playing the same loop of animation over and over and over again. It was very annoying to watch. I'm glad he hired 2 editors to help him out. I myself have hired Joshua and Pufferfish to help me out with my videos. Some people have criticized MrEnter and told him he should just get better at editing instead of hiring people. And while that is true, the important thing is that the video looks better.
Even movies and cartoons that legit trigger traumatic feelings, I persevere to the very end.
Okay, and this is one of the reasons why a lot of people make fun of MrEnter. Anytime he watches something that's edgy or has gross out humor, he freaks out so much about it, and he's a grown man. Guys, I can barely make it through this. This is so disgusting. Oh my god, I can't believe someone would animate that. Bro, it's a cartoon, calm down. And I think this is 90% of the reason why people hate on MrEnter. He has a very weak stomach. And the other 10% is his annoying voice. Granted, my voice is annoying as well, but I do what I can to hide it.
I started an Indiegogo project that didn't make its goal. That's scandalous. I mean, like, when I think of disasters, I think of a campaign that hits 4 times its budget, keeps its backers in the dark, makes an insulting trailer, neglects to give anyone backer rewards, and then delivers a mediocre project that looked worse than the concept art years late.
MrEnter, while those crowdfunding campaigns are worse than yours was still pretty bad. You only made 3% of your goal, as far as I know. And you were asking for more dollars than you had subscribers. Butch Hartman was asking for $100,000 less than you. And he's the guy who made Fairy On Parents and Danny Phantom. And before someone tells me that Butch Hartman's crowdfunding campaign was worse, guess what? I did a video about him too. Just because his was worse than MrEnter's, it doesn't mean MrEnter's was perfect by any means.
My Indiegogo campaign was far worse than that because it didn't hit its budget. Like 44% of crowdfunding campaigns.
It didn't even reach 1/10 of its budget. And I didn't see anyone say that your crowdfunding campaign was the worst. Maybe there was a few people, but it certainly wasn't me or Digby.
I mean, a lot of people have threatened to dox me, or those that I know. Like easy peasy.
The mysterious MrEnter may very well be, bar none, the worst reviewer on all of YouTube. But despite all of the vitriol surrounding him, I was able to find very little actual juicy drama that he was involved in, to the point I considered going out of my way and personally trying to dox him, just to maybe not publish the dox, but maybe somewhere in there I'd find something that's actually interesting.
And apparently he's not the person who doxed me or my editor, but apparently he knows this person.
MrEnter, I can understand why you thought that was a threat. If I was in your shoes, I would have probably came to the same conclusion. But he said he was considering doxing you to see if he could find something juicy you were involved in. He even said he wasn't going to publish the dox, just see what he could find if he doxed you. It's a bit concerning, and I wouldn't like it if someone said that to me, but it's not a threat.
But the people who like me can be pieces of work themselves too, and they're not getting off the hook. You know, like the girl who said she would jump off a balcony if I didn't say that I loved her. But we'll be talking about my cyberstalkers a little bit later.
Yeah, I can totally relate to how you feel about that, MrEnter. That actually happened to me. But at this point in the video, MrEnter stops mentioning names. Don't know if he forgot or he just wants to protect his fans, but it just came across as a little weird to me.
You're not creative or special. Every single one has pulled that card. You're just a dime a dozen crazy that I want nothing to do with.
MrEnter's fans are incredibly annoying and don't really help his situation at all in any way whatsoever. For example, this comment from someone saying they unsubscribed after they saw my video I did with Digby on MrEnter, telling me that they were unsubscribing from me. It's kind of weird because their comment implies they just saw the video I did with Digby, even though the video I did with him was down at the time. But I just lost a subscriber. They were probably a very hardcore fan of mine and commented on a lot of my videos. Now there's this thing you can do on YouTube where you can search all the comments someone left on your videos. And guess how many comments this person left before this one? Only one! And it was about MrEnter's video, the one I'm covering now! And there were a few comments on Digby's videos like, I normally like videos about MrEnter, but this one was crap. It's so easy to debunk this guy, but you guys did a shit job. Then I would go onto their channel and see that they're subscribed to MrEnter. You guys are not fooling anyone, we can see right through your crap.
People are no longer able to just get off the internet. People have jobs that rely on using the internet. People try to have reasonable discussions on the internet. And people have kids they know use the internet.
And that is very true. There's even a show on the Sci-Fi Channel called The Internet Ruined My Life. So, all in all, I'm not really a fan of MrEnter. I did enjoy some of his videos, but his content really isn't for me. But if you enjoy it, go right ahead, I won't stop you. And if you don't like MrEnter, I hate to break it to you, there's nothing really juicy he has done. Just a few small things here or there. I really think it's time that drama with MrEnter just dies already.